So Inktober's over and I actually managed to make it to day 31, so I'm pretty impressed with myself. I didn't manage to do as many time lapses of my Inktober drawings as I was hoping to because my camera setup was just really hard to get right. So I thought instead I could just do like a retrospective and show you through all of my drawings from the month. I also thought it could be cool to do a comparison with Inktober last year since I only made it to like day 13 or something, and I think I've improved quite a lot. So as I go through with day 1, I'll show you day 1 from last year, etc. till day 13, and then I'll just show you the rest obviously. But anyway, let's get started. This is my day 1 drawing, and I got some India ink and a little brush at the start of October just to try something different so that I wasn't just working with the same pen the whole month, I guess. On the other side, day 2 is this portrait. I also did a digital colouring of this piece because I really like the lines and I realised that some of the proportions are wrong, so I put it into Photoshop, changed some of the, like I liquefied some of the face to make it look better, and then digitally coloured it, and I actually really like the way it turned out. So day 1 from last year, and then day 2 over here, I think I've improved quite a lot. Then for day 3 I did this lady because I felt like doing somebody with clothes, because usually I do a lot of nude drawings. So she's kind of like a sorceress and she's levitating this really cute tortoise, and I just did the background with gouache. The only thing I would change about this is make her hand a little bit smaller and then make the background just a little bit more matte because you can still see quite a lot of the brush strokes. Day 4 I did these dandies because I went to a Regency fashion like lecture and they talked about all the different clothing pieces that people used to wear, and I was really inspired by like the silhouette of the dandy. It's just got a lot of character, so I wanted to just draw a lot of those, and I filled a whole page. Then I did a double page spread for whatever day this is, I've already lost count, with the India ink and then some Posca marker in white over the top to get some of the highlights in the water and stuff. Yeah, I mean the perspective's not completely right, but I like that I kind of pushed myself for this one. Then next I did this sort of menacing character in the woods, and I did like fire coming out of his eyes, so I guess he's kind of like a metaphor for forest fire or like wildfire or something. And I really liked working with the gouache in combination with the ink, it was quite fun. Then this is the only drawing that I managed to make a time-lapse of on my channel, and unfortunately I think it's actually one of the worst Inktober drawings that I did during the whole month, so that was a bit unfortunate, but here it is anyway. Again, if you want to watch that time-lapse video, I'll link it in the description and maybe at the end. Alright, so next I did a storefront, which was really fun to do, and I used a reference from a street photographer in Tokyo, so I think I butchered the Japanese text, but I mean aesthetically it still looks really cool, and I'm actually quite proud of myself for this one. It's not what I usually draw, so yeah, I think that's what Inktober is good for as well, just trying out different things. Then I did this really dramatic like wolf thing. At this point I kind of felt a little done with the India ink and I just wanted to go back to something that I was a bit more familiar with, so I did it with Biro and a little bit of Copic marker and then the white Posca again just to put the highlights back in there. So yeah, that one's quite messy and raw. This one, and this is I went swimming because it's sort of spring summer here now, and I don't know, I just got inspired by swimming, I guess. It's that simple. But yeah, I just did it with a black pen and then colour pencil in the background. And then on this side, the next day, I did this little character sucking on a lollipop, I guess. And then I did the skin tones with gouache, or maybe it was acrylic paint actually. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way these turned out as like next to each other as well. And then I didn't have much time for the Inktober on this day, so I just sort of like did something quite familiar to me and just like sketched a little and then put in a blue background with acrylic paint. And I guess with this sketchbook I'm really trying to get some colour back into my work because I don't know, I think it's just more exciting to look through a sketchbook if there's a little pop of colour here and there. Then on the next day I did a self-portrait, so this is based on a photo of me, and then this is based on a photo that someone took of me taking a selfie, so kind of a surreal drawing I guess, but I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Then I did this whole page of bearded men because beards are just really fun to draw, and I just felt like I don't know, again, with the biro, it's something that I'm a bit more comfortable with, so I just decided to go with that. And I think that this is actually one of the more popular ones that I had on Instagram. I've stopped trying to figure out why things are popular on Instagram, because it seems kind of random. Like, I didn't really expect this one to go so big while others didn't. Anyway, the next day I did some naked bodies in this blue pen, and then I used this metallic Posca in the background, which is quite cool. You can see it's like reflecting the light. Then the next day I did a hand study, because I just decided to go back to the ink and make it a bit more painterly instead of working with just lines, which was quite fun. It's a bit spooky. Then the day after that I had my last university exam. At the end of that I decided to draw a little schools out, like moody girl, and then I put some like red watercolor in there as well, again just to give it a little bit of color. Then I did this drawing, and it was a day that I wasn't feeling like particularly confident in my own body, so I was like, oh, I'll just draw a beautiful body and maybe it'll make me feel better. So it's just like with stretch marks and hairy legs and things, and just to remind you to be proud of your flaws, I guess, and yeah, be body positive. Then the next day I decided to draw a toad, and I think this is actually my favourite Inktober drawing, because I just really like the way it turned out. Like, the warts really pop off the page, which is a weird thing to say. But anyway, he looks quite regal to me, so I decided to call him Waters Toadington III. Oh my god, so I completely forgot. For day 20, I just hang on. For day 20, I actually got my first tattoo, and it was like, it's this dog. So it's like technically Inktober. I didn't actually do it myself, I did go to a tattoo parlor. But I'm really happy with it because it's an animation that I made of a dog, and you might notice that it's also on the cover of my sketchbook. Anyway, pretty cool. Day 20, there it is. Woo! Then I did this dog scratching its ear. I did this one from reference, again with the India ink, and then I put the metallic marker behind it. As you can tell, I'm trying to be quite diverse with I tried to be quite diverse with my Inktober drawings so that I wouldn't give up or become bored. I mean, maybe next year I'll do a theme and be a bit more consistent, or use the same materials all the way through, I don't know. Then I did this girl who has a really bad sunburn because like I said, it's summery now and sunburns are a thing. I don't usually burn that easily, but I think that they're quite fun aesthetically. Anyway, I'm quite happy with the way this one turned out. And then on the other side I've got this topless guy who looks a bit like my boyfriend Arnold, and someone commented that on my Instagram post as well, and I guess that's me being guilty of that. But anyway, I'm kind of happy with the way this one turned out as well, and I just messed up his hand a bit, so I put a post-it note over and drew it again. I always like using coloured post-it notes for that, because again it just puts a pop of colour in my sketchbook, which I like. Then I did this weird I looked up life drawing poses, and it was just the weirdest pose ever, so I was like, yeah, I need to draw that. And then I just got rid of her head as well for fun, I guess, and it turned out pretty spooky. Quite like the way it turned out. I just did it with biro and black pen to cover everything in the background to make her stand out a bit more, and then I used pink Posca for the nipple. Then the next day I did these fountain pen portraits. When I'm using fountain pen I really like working on these flowy lines and stuff, so I focused on the hair quite a lot, and this one's my favourite because she's just got so much attitude. So the next day I worked on this vampire girl, and as you can see on the left I first did a few sketches with the fountain pen, and then I went on to do the full body in biro and then with Poscas in the background. And then Stranger Things came out and I started watching it. I still haven't watched every episode, so no spoilers in the comments please. But there was one shot of all the boys turning around while they were sitting at their desks in the classroom, and I thought it was a cool shot, so I drew it. And I'm not really happy with the way it turned out, honestly, but I think the likenesses are pretty good. I did mess up Lucas's face, so I put a post-it note over it to redraw it. Then I entered the Redbubble competition that was in partnership with the State Library Victoria. Basically the competition was to take inspiration from the State Library Victoria collection, and there were 3 different categories that you could choose from, and I chose magic, and in their magic collection they had these really cool trading cards, and I just really like the trading card idea, so I made trading cards of like 4 influential Australians, because the State Library Victoria is in Melbourne in Australia, and I thought that that would be pertinent to the library. So yeah, I did 4 different influential Australians, and one of them was Neith Kelly, and so I did a little sketch of him before I did the full illustration. And then the next day after that obviously I was working on that, so my Inktober the next day was also to do with that project, so I'll show you the final trading cards, which ended up being taken down from Redbubble anyway, because I didn't realise that you're not allowed to use people's likenesses or names on Redbubble, and they didn't really put that in the brief for the competition. You only really see that when you upload the images. At the end you have to disclaim that you have the rights to like use the image and name, and I didn't even think about that because I was only thinking about how it like suited the library's ambitions, but it probably didn't suit Redbubble's ambitions at all. So I'm pretty happy with the way they turned out, but unfortunately I don't think they have any chance of winning. Then we're on to the last page, and this is Halloween, my last Inktober drawing of Medusa, and she's in this like glamour pose, so she's probably on the cover of like a monster magazine or something, and all of her body hair is also snakes, but they're just like too small to tell. Anyway, so yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, and also a little sneak peek of my sketchbook. Pretty sick of working with ink. Like I kind of used Inktober as my sketching time, so I didn't draw much outside of like my main work if it wasn't Inktober. And working with ink like so consistently for a whole month has taught me that I just don't enjoy doing the same thing for a whole month. So anyway, I hope that was good. But yeah, bye.